season number 4 of your iRacing Skip Barber Championship. The first 2 weeks are dictated by the short tracks. We saw a fantastic race last week out at Lime Rock Park, and here, week number 2, we'd expect more of that exciting action live from the Silverstone National Circuit. 6 corners at the big and famous racetrack in UK. Join us in a few moments' time when we go green. Welcome back to RaceSpot TV and iRacing Live as coverage starts here from your Skip Barber Racing School Championship, round number 2 from Silverstone National. Randy Chenitz, Alvin Nieves, and Hugo Louis bring you all the action today. Very short track today, Alvin. Silverstone National, not one we're used to seeing, but always good to see some of these alternate layouts get used.
And you know, this layout, yeah, it is the national version of Silverstone, but this version, I think it suits very well these Skip Barbers. You know, they don't have that much power, so, you know, to put them in the Grand Prix circuit, sometimes, you know, it may be a little bit too low. So put it on a shorter track. It still retains the same characteristic of Silverstone, fast turns and wide turns as well.
Now, someone we're keeping our eye on who's in this race is the number 2 machine, Matt Busa, who's currently at the end of his first qualifying lap, and he should be able to get one more in as well. The reason we're keeping an eye on him is that, confusingly enough, the NASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series driver of Matt Busa, he holds the world records around this place. Well, lap number 1 isn't really showing himself too strong. He just does a time of 1:05.2. Pole right now is Angie Precario with a 1:04.7, so about a half second off the quickest drivers here currently in this session. Also a handful of other names we're used to seeing. Adecobo Lopez is making this a regular stop it seems. Greg Seitz, Christian Capanga, as well as a handful of others.
Yeah, it is, and you know, for this season, yeah, we saw on the previous 2 seasons, we saw the drivers like Philippe Lebert and Johnny Guindy. Now that they have won their respective seasons, now they can pretty much relax, and I think they can pretty much, I could comfortably say that they can sit here, scout the competition, and see who are the drivers to look out here in Season 4.
That's certainly the case. Matt Busa, he ejects lap number 2, so he will not improve on that 1:05.2 qualifying time, so he will start no better than 13th. Andrew Precario, he is currently still in the lead, whereas Greg Seitz just plopped himself up into P number 2 with a 1:04.813. Adecobo Lopez, the American Racing Team driver, he sits in 3rd at the moment with an 8.87, and then Justin Tipton just sits 2 thousandths back. Last driver, your top 5, Victor Alliards. So your top 5 separated by about a 10th and a half right now with 2 minutes left in qualifying. Let's see if there's any drivers currently out on any hot laps. We have Edwin Valerino, who's on his hot lap in the number 11 machine. He's on his first of 2. Coming down now, this is actually one thing that's interesting, Alvin. This back straightaway section was actually the new circuit somewhat links into with the modern layout that we unfortunately do not have on the sim. That's a very long sort of back straightaway section for a racetrack of this length. I think you spend about a third of your time on that straightaway alone over the lap. And
if you think of this layout for these cars, the Skip Barbers, you know, it's it's pretty much as if you were running in, say, Monza, for example, where you spend a good portion of the lap pretty much full throttle. And this layout of Silverstone with the skip barbers, it's pretty much gonna be the same format. So Randy, one thing that we're going to see here, pole position may not really matter much. What will matter is who can stay with that front leading group, and that slipstream, that's gonna be one of the big talking points in here today.
I think you're right, because you actually think about this layout, you have a long front straightaway as well, and then you come through turn one, very fast turn one, and you have a pretty decently length straight, especially with these little Skip Barber Formula 2000 cars. Then you get into the S's, which really aren't the S's, basically a left-hand kink and then a sharp right-hander to bring you onto this back straightaway. Down the long back straightaways, we're still watching Edwin Valerino as he works himself now into this left-hander. Then you come into this left-hander, little short spurt of the throttle, and then you get to the hairpin at left field, which is the same as the final corner from the GP circuit. Then you get back onto the front straightaway. So a very, very high-speed layout indeed for these little cars. It's going to be interesting to watch here. I think we might see a lot of drafting, even though this lap is still relatively short. Let's see what Edwin does, though, on his lap. He does improve to 105.1. That puts him 10th.
Yeah, and what also will play into this race as well. For this, these cars are small, and this track is relatively wide for them. So I think 3, maybe even 4 wide at some points during the race is not even out of the question.
I'm gonna have to agree with that, considering we saw 4 wide at Lime Rock Park last week. So if you can go 4 wide at Lime Rock and somehow escape with everyone relatively unscathed, well, then you can go 4 wide just about anywhere. But with that, qualifying comes to an end. Let's go down your starting grid for round number 2 of the 4th season of your Skip Barber Racing School Championship. Andrew Picario takes pole with a 104.776. Greg Seitz slots himself into P number 2 with a 104.813. Eddie Coba Lopez and Justin Tipton, separated by 0.02 of a second, make up row number 2. Victoria Allert and Kane Halliburton, they make up that 3rd row, with Christian Campanga and Christoph Fuchs making up row number 4. Diago Francisco and Edwin Valerino make up row number 5, which rounds out your top 10. And then coming to row 6, Carl Dronke and John Marius Mork. Francois Bollian and Daniel Forgarini make up row 7, with Matt Busa and Mike McCormick making up row 8. Philip Stoneman, he rounds out those who put down qualifying times, and then at the end of the field, we have Tuan Tron and Bruno Barbugli, both of which did not put in qualifying times. Alvin, fairly short circuit, a lot of straightaways relative to his distance, a lot of drafting. Who's your pick?
I think this is a really interesting race that we're gonna have in here today, where we had the last race in Lime Rock Park, which I think it was kind of hard to overtake. So, but this one is really up for the taking. But I think I'm going for 2 in a row with Araikova Lopez.
So, Alvin picks the American Racing Team driver. By the way, we hope here at RaceBot you like the new graphics. They are fancy. But we're waiting for this group to go green here. I believe we have everyone on the grid, so we will wait for the lights to come on and the res to build here. Just a couple of moments, and we'll be green flag racing for 22 laps around this short 2.6 mile circuit. Again, 2.6 miles, only 6 turns, so a lot of flat footing around this place.
It certainly is, and I think this is all the action that we're gonna see in here today. So really interesting. I said reps go up, and I think we're gonna go green flag right now.
Green flag flies, and a good jump here from Andrew Picario. He gets clean. You see Greg Seitz immediately cuts the inside away from Adicobo Lopez. Defensive driving already happening down this front straightaway, and I think people are just wanting to get themselves in line. They know this is going to be a bit of a draft fest. Down now through corner number 1, Andrew Picario on the run up into the S's towards Maggots, and then the right-hander is to bring them towards Aintree, which comes down onto the back straightaway. So first time into this abbreviated SS complex, hard on the brakes and a sharp right-hander here. Super late apex. Everyone's still clean the first couple corners here. Couple cars push wide. Andrew Picario defends though. We've got a big incident here. In the back, we got Carl Dronke's in this, Philip Stoneman. 2 or 3 car incident here happening in the back of the field. Another car involved as well. I can't see who that is. That is Francois Bollian, and he's the 3rd one who's involved. But looking out front, fighting for your race lead is Greg Seitz, who looked up the inside of the number 6 of Andrew Picario the first time there into that left-hander at Brooklands. And now through left field, they're going to come back onto the front straightaway. And Greg Seitz, he's going to lead lap number 1, even though Picario led them into turn number 1.
Certainly is. Now Greg Sykes going here into turn number 1 with the lead of the race, but Andrew Procario already now looking here to the right side and looking to take that position going into cups, and he takes it. And Alex Lopez a little bit too close, but managed to check just in time. So Greg Sykes is still safe, and Andrew Procario into the lead, but Greg Sykes now looking into the right side, going side by side into Magas. Let's see who has the advantage. Andrew Procario, Greg Sykes going into turn number 1. Turn number 3, and Greg Sykes takes the lead, but now Alex Lopez looking into the inside, and we may be even going 3 wide here.
So 3 wide now down this sort of middle or back straightaway, just depending how you want to call it. They get 2 wide. The number 1 machine of Lopez decides to lift out of it. They're still side by side for the lead though. Andrew Procario working driver's right. He has the outside for this wide left-hand sweeper, but he's able to cut back in the 3 machine of Sights. Very slow on the exit. That's going to stack him up behind. So Procario gets the lead back, but there's a huge gaggle of cars behind. They're racing very, very hard right now as they're going to come across the stripe. It's going to be Procario from Sights from Lopez. There's your top 3. Kane Halliburton is 4th, with Justin Tipton rounding out your top 5. Victor Albert is 6th. 7th, Diego Francisco, Christian Campagna, Christoph Fuchs, and Eduardo Valerino round out your top 10, and that's all the cars in this lead pack. So 10-car lead pack here early, as again they come through corner number 1 and side by side in the back for 4th. This allows the top 3 to stretch away. Justin Tipton and Kane Halliburton stay side by side on the run into Maggots, and then the right-hander here at Beckett's. And they're still going to stay side by side there for 4th as drivers hopping that curb on drivers right, and this is costing them all sorts of time. Your leaders here, Alvin, they need to realize when it's good enough to give up. As they're side by side for the lead, Lopez wants to toss his hat into the ring to make it 3 wide now. Down this back straightaway into the left-hander again, and Lopez, the space is there, but just not going for it. Again, side by side for Andrew Procario as well as Greg Sykes into the final corner again at left field. Procario again isolated onto the outside, and is he going to be able to make it work 2 times in a row off that final corner? Normally the inside reigns supreme, but the 6 of Procario, Alvin, very good that time, but Sykes is going to have the inside line into 1, and Adecobo Lopez is following as well.
And you know, at some points I would say if you stay on the outside going into love disadvantage, but on this again with these cars going side by side and being on the outside, it's actually not a disadvantage. You may actually get a run, and Adecobo Lopez taking the inside into cups, now coming here into Mega. Let's see if he has a look here for the lead, but decides to just take it just a little bit there, and I think that's going to compromise Greg Sykes just a little bit, and perhaps allow Adecobo Lopez to try here to go for the lead.
Liberal use of the runoff, to say the least, as the 3 of Greg Sykes attempts to defend his position. Here comes Procario down this back straightaway once again. Now there's 5 or 6 cars all buried as they work through the left-hander at the end of the back straightaway and back into left field.
Yeah, going back into left field, and for now Greg Sykes really has the advantage here, but Adecobo Lopez still looking here good here in 2nd place, and I think this is the first time in a couple laps that we're going to see the leaders going single file into the start-finish line. Well, not for long actually, because I think Andrew Procario is really looking, and Adecobo Lopez also having a look.
So down the front straightaway they come again, and Greg Sykes retains the race lead. Adecobo Lopez looks to the inside. Turn number 1, though, the way it's profiled, you can't really make the outside work. But that said, the entry for Sykes was very abbreviated, so Adecobo Lopez cuts the driver's right. Down now the run into corners number 2 and 3. Adecobo Lopez has the preferred line, but you can run wide on the exit of that 3rd corner. So watch for Greg Sykes. Going to work through on the outside. You see one car pushes way off to the left here as the number 3 machine of Sykes doesn't quite do it. Because of that, he doesn't get a big run. He has a little bit of a run, not as much as he maybe could have. Either slight overlap. They work down this back straightaway, but the 3 machine pulls completely alongside. They're side by side for 4th, 5th, and 6th as well, but through the penultimate corner goes the 3 machine to the inside of Lopez. If Lopez can hold here, he'll have the inside through left field, but what can happen here? Greg Sykes through on that middle groove, trying to make it work. Very close between the 1 machine, and they make contact. Little bit of touching. That one Adecobo Lopez, I think, came up a little bit. Big hit for the one of Adecobo Lopez. Not sure what happened there, but Greg Sykes ends up getting hooked. We see 3 or 4 cars here in a moment.
Certainly was. It was definitely close race there between Adecobo Lopez and Greg Sykes, and it kind of looks like Greg Sykes just got a little bit too close there for comfort. Adecobo Lopez got hit, but I don't know exactly what happened to Adecobo Lopez. I'm kind of hesitant to say that it was a bit of retaliation, but it was kind of weird.
So with this intense fight, we're going to do a Race Spot TV and iRacing Live fan immersion right on board with the number 8 machine of Diego Francisco. So we are back here on Race Spot TV and iRacing Live as Diego Francisco from 9th on the grid currently leads as he works themselves now off this final corner and down the front straightaway. So as they run, because of that incident we saw just a handful of moments ago with Etico Lopez basically having his race ended as well as Greg Seitz, this is how they run down the front straightaway. And before I can get a chance to say it, we're going to see Andrew Precario working side by side, and one works the outside line. This forces Diego to be defensive, and this is going to allow both him, Precario and Halliburton to get big runs down this second straightaway in towards corner number 2. Halliburton wants to shove the nose in and make it 3 wide, but no, he backs out of it. The 6 machine lurks up now around the outside of corners number 2 and 3. Doesn't get the run, but the 8 here of Diego Francisco puts good speed down this second straightaway on the run into corner number 4.
And it is, for Diego Francisco, great job for him for starting in P number 9 and now running here. But Andrew Precario looking here on the left side into Brooklands, and trying to get a look here, but slides way too wide, and that may allow Kane Halliburton to slide here on the outside. I think this is the moment for Kane Halliburton if he wants to get a run. We have seen the outside lane work, and for Kane Halliburton that's very important. But for now, he's trying to get a good run here out of Andrew Precario. As we complete just another lap here in the Silverstone National Circuit, it's still the battle here for the lead is really intense with Diego Francisco, Andrew Precario, Kane Halliburton, and Christian Kebanga now coming here into what is the Maggots version and coming into the back straight, Club Straight, or Wellington Straight, how it's called nowadays. And Kane Halliburton getting a good run here. Let's see if he can go for second place. And looks here to the right side to Andrew Precario, now coming here into Brooklyn. Let's see under braking with Kane Halliburton on the outside and going outside of the white line. Let's see if he can get a good run here. And Andrew Precario defense, very excellent defense here by Andrew Precario, but Kane Halliburton still has the inside turn here, and I think this is the moment that Kane Halliburton was waiting. Now kind of looks for Andrew Precario moving just a little bit outside, but still able to manage to get the car back into the circuit, but still battling Kane Halliburton and Precario for P number 2. And as they keep fighting, this has allowed Diego Francisco to try to run away with the lead of this race.
So as they run, Diego Francisco trying to stretch the lead, and he's done a good job of it due to the fighting that's been happening behind. Side by side right now for 5th and 6th on the racetrack. This is Matt Busa and Christoph Fuchs through this right-hander. Matt Busa's done a fantastic job to work his way through this field. 15th on the grid, currently up into 6th. Down again. This back straightaway, all the cars are going to come. Diego Francisco done a fantastic job to stretch the gap. Precario and Halliburton, they still sit 2nd and 3rd, and they seem keen to pretty much work together as they work themselves now through the left-hander at the end of the back straight, and now back down into the final corner at left field. This is going to be the end of lap number 10, going to bring us to halfway after the next lap. 22 laps is what we have on tap here tonight. So we will get that second half here shortly for you. And now down this back straightaway, Diego Francisco continues to stretch a gap. Picario and Halliburton, their dramas have really hampered their ability to stay with this number 8 machine. So from the exit 1 down into the entrance of corner number 2, they reel in the back of Diego Francisco, but not quite close enough to get the job done. But the number 8 pushes way wide all over the curb on exit, popped a huge amount there, and well, he's still gonna be able to maintain the momentum due to the super wide exit that he took. So the number 8 machine of Francisco works down this back straightaway, maintains his lead because of it, but through now into this left-hander. The 6 and the 10 continue to work together, and Christian Capenga has lashed onto the back of this fight as well. 4-car battle for your race lead, but it's basically 3 cars trying to keep up with the 8 machine. Again, they work down this front straightaway. Let's see what's going to happen. Picario, interestingly enough, he pulled out of the draft super early. I think he needs to wait longer to do that. He would have had a stronger run, and I think maybe he would have had a little bit of overlap. Because he didn't, Francisco was able to take a relatively normal corner. Picario gets a run. Halliburton's in line as well, but the 8 machine is going to be able to go defensive now. Down this short chute, up into Maggots. But the number 6 machine, a lot of momentum on that outside. Through now, the right-hander at corner number 3. The 8 machine hops the curb. Huge, and it upsets the car. And Kane Halliburton, he's going to slide into second. Francisco is going to drop back into 4th. Christian Capenga is going to pick up the 3rd spot, Alvin. And we don't have Alvin yet, so sorry about that. Trying to troubleshoot some tech issues here. And now we have Alvin. Alvin changes the position now. We see Diego Francisco make a big mistake and drop back into P number 4.
That's pretty much what's gonna take in here. You know, you have to be inch perfect. Just because Diego Francisco, yeah, he had a good run into this battle, but just that mistake, and that has allowed pretty much brought all this group back together. And now Andrew Picario and Kane Halliburton trying to do a breakaway. Christian Capenga and Diego Francisco still just right behind.
So through turn number 1, Andrew Picario continues to hold the lead. And where will Kane Halliburton make his move? We know that he's going to. They work now down this run in corner number 2, and look at how much time Francisco has dropped since he made that mistake. Through corner number 2, you see the 10 machine of Halliburton. He jumps that curb as well, but he does a much smoother job of it in terms of getting that job done, and he doesn't upset the car the way that number 8 of Francisco did. Down this long back straightaway, what we've seen in this race thus far is exactly what we expected. A lot of slipstreaming, a lot of drafting as they work through now. The end of the back straightaway into this left-hander, but no one's going to make a move yet. Halliburton gets a little bit loose at the apex of turn number 5, but as they work through 6, he's still fighting loose condition, but he gets the car pointed and is able to get on the throttle because of it. And now 4 cars running down in turn number 1 out.
Running into turn number 1, but Andrew Picario just had that little bit of a lead. I think that should give him a little bit of security now going in here into turn number 1, perhaps even going into Maggots, but I don't think that's gonna be too long. It kind of depends on the run that Kane Halliburton can get here, getting out of turn number 1. And it looks like he just got the Andrew Picario and Kane Halliburton kind of got that same run, but that slipstream tried to work just a little bit in the favor of Kane Halliburton, closing the gap just a little bit, but not enough.
Through 2 and 3 they come now. Once again, they see the 10 of Halliburton pushes wide. 3 or 4 different lanes the drivers can potentially use through that corner coming onto the back straightaway, where they work themselves down the back straight. You see Halliburton gets a good head of steam due to the slipstream. Will he be able to make a move on the inside? No, he thinks better of it, lifts out of it. They're fighting for 3rd though, as Francisco looks to the inside, but he gets a little bit loose. And Capenga, will he be able to hold on to the spot? He has the inside line, and he gets clear of the number 8 of Francisco, so he's going to retain that 3rd spot for now. They're also jostling in the back for P number 5. That's Matt Busa, Christoph Fuchs, and Edwin Ballerino. They're fighting there in the background, but the race lead about to become a point of contention as the 10 of Halliburton gets a run on Picario. Down your front straightaway, side by side once again. Halliburton visibly lifts off the throttle there through corner number 1 to get himself as good of an exit as he can. A little bit interesting in my opinion. I don't really think this end of the racetrack is where you want to be making passes. Generally want to, I think, on this circuit, try to pass going into the final, the corner at the end of that back straightaway. So for the 10 of Halliburton, bit of interesting here. But they're going to come now out onto this back straightaway once again here, Alvin. 10 machine of Halliburton, he is close. I think he's 100% going to make a move.
Absolutely, and for Kane Halliburton, I think I think what Andrew Procario is doing is really smart, protecting that outside. And I know it sounds kind of counterproductive. Why would you protect the outside? Well, now as you're going on the inside here on Luffield, that is the line you want to make. Yes, the outside still can get a run, but still being on the inside, you can get an even better run.
The side-by-side down the front straightaway, they come again. Procario has a nose at the moment, but will Halliburton be able to maintain the overlap through one? We've seen that outside line work. The number 7 machine of Capanga, he's tossing his hat in the ring now as well. Through turn number one they come. Halliburton on the outside. You see Cisco on the outside, gets a good run. Excuse me, Francisco. I'm used to Mr. Skidaramuza as they work themselves now into corner number 2, 2x2. Top 4 all under a blanket now as they work through this right-hander. Come onto the back straightaway. This is the part of the circuit that I think is most important. Who's going to get the run? Who's going to have the slipstream? And I have to say, I will be very surprised if we don't see 3 or 4 wide going into corner number 5 here at the end of this long back straightaway. You see the 8 of Francisco. He gets the big run. The 7 of Capanga gets the run, but Procario blocks it off. 2x2 still at the end of the back straightaway into corner number 5. Halliburton has the inside line through 5, but the outside through 6, which we've seen be strong as I think Francisco and Capanga make a bit of contact side by side off the final corner for your race lead though for Halliburton and Procario. Well, they're going to stay side by side as we see Capanga coming down pit lane. Not sure what the drama is there, but now it's a 3-car scrap for your race lead. Side by side yet again at the line. Halliburton leads this lap by 0.02 of a second. The 8 of Francisco though in third. He has the optimal line through corner number 1, and Alvin down this second straightaway. I think the 8 of Francisco is going to look strong and potentially keen to make a move and put himself in position to make a move after this right-hander.
And I think Diego Francisco, I think he is on the driver's seat. As Kay Halliburton slides just a little bit, and that is the last thing you want. But now that allows Diego Francisco to run here into P number 2. Let's see if he can get a run here on Andrew Procario going into turn number 4. Brooklyn now looks to the inside, and I think Diego Francisco may have it here. He just needs to get a little bit deeper there, but going side by side here. Now coming here into Luffield, and just almost contact there, and Kane Halliburton also trying to have a look and see if he can get it. He can have a go at it again.
I've been racing for your race lead like it's the final lap, but it's not yet. 5 laps to go this time by. It's hard to believe that these top 3 have any way of surviving the final 5 laps racing the way they are. But keep in mind, the way they're going is reeling in that group behind by about to the tune of about a second a lap. Now off the exit of corner number 1, they're going to be 3 wide for your race lead. As the 8 of Francisco pushes wide, Halliburton looks through the middle, and he's going to have the race lead for now. He knows ahead, but the 6 of Procario, he has the line now through the right-hander. Very close between the 6 and the 10. A little bit of oversteer there from Andrew, but now they're going to be 3 wide again for your race lead as Matt Booth in the background leads the 3-car train to the second 3-car train to get involved with this lead group. Down the back straightaway they come again. The 10 machine of Halliburton to the inside. The 8 of Francisco to the inside as well. Procario defends right because he wants the inside here through left field. We've seen a couple times today though. Can Halliburton make this stick as they work themselves off the final corner? And no, Halliburton doesn't get the run, but he'll have good momentum down this back straightaway. Will he be able to get the overlap as Alvin, that second group, has caught your leaders?
They have caught the leaders, and I think this is the last thing the top 3 were looking for. They pretty much been battling all race long, and while we started with a 6-car, we had that crash. It became to 3, but these have been battling really clean. But the bad news is that this has allowed another 3-car group, and also Matt Booth are really aggressive here coming into the party, trying to look here in a battle for the lead, battling with Diego Francisco coming here into Maggots.
He may not be the quickest drivers in these cars, but I'm actually going to say that number 2 machine of Matt Busa might have a bit of an intangible advantage here. NASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series driver, and oftentimes in those NASCAR oval cars, you get very used to racing your competition. A lot of times the road guys, they get used to having to race the track, and there's a lot of hot lapping that essentially happens on the roadside. I think Busa, of anyone in this field, might be able to swerve his way and find his way through this pack. But the number 10 machine of Halliburton, he gets to the inside now. El Procario not able to defend that inside off the left field. Now the 10 of Halliburton, he will pick up the race lead off the final corner. Again, Down the front straightaway they come, and here comes the Ada Francisco. Wants to make it 3 wide into 1. You see the number 2 machine of Matt Busa. He's going to wait in the background, knowing that it isn't wide, but the Ada Francisco makes the move, and he picks up the race lead from 3rd to 1st in 1 corner. And will the 2 machine of Busa make a move as well? 3 laps to go, and they're going to be 3 wide into corner number 2. Peak antifreeze series driver versus some of the Skip Barber regulars, and Matt Busa, he's going to go from 4th to 2nd in pursuit of that number 8 machine, Alvin.
Definitely Matt Busa, they're making it work. I gotta say, fantastic job by him. He was squeezed all the way to the right on the racetrack, but he still wasn't intimidated by either Kane Halliburton or Andrew Procario. Now coming here 3 wide into turn number 4, Brookless. Matt Busa all the way to the out, and he just lets them have a go. I think Matt Busa may be having a plan here, trying to go for the win here today.
So through the final corner, once again, going to be 2 laps to go at the stripe. Off the final corner they come. The 8 of Diogo Francisco has a bit of a margin because of the way they've been fighting. This second group needs to be smart. As Kyle Busch once shouted on the radio at the end of one of the qualifying races of the Daytona 500, you have to work together sometimes to give yourself a chance of getting the win. If this second pack doesn't work together, the 8 machine will be off to the races and off to victory lane here. The 10 of Halliburton pushes way wide on the exit of corner number 1. Now into 2 and 3, the 8 of Francisco retains your race lead still as Busa is fighting for that 3rd spot on the outside now. Onto the back straight they come, and I think we're going to be 3 wide here for 3rd between Busa, Procario, and Fuchs as they work themselves now. And no, Fuchs is going to lift out of it, but Busa has the overlap for the left-hander. The 10 now of Halliburton has caught the back of the 8 machine. Through the outside, through the penultimate corner, and on the run into left field. Let's see if can Halliburton work the cut back. No, he's not going to get enough. But he has wider entry to the final corners. They're still side by side for 3rd. White flag in the air, Alvin.
White flag indeed, and Diogo Francisco still not out of the woods yet, as Kane Halliburton definitely is able to catch up with him. And I think Kane Halliburton may not look for the move here going into Cups, but definitely, if he wants to get the race win here today, just stay behind. Once you get out of maggots, then you try to go for the move, and then you go for the win.
So off corner number 1, this lead pack comes. The 10 and the 8, they're going to go side by side. Halliburton slots himself on the left. Diego defends to the right-hand side. That's the inside of this corner, but Francisco gets all sorts of loose contact for the race lead. The 10 of Halliburton, he loses a big head of steam. Now Procario will inherit your race lead. Matt Busa moves up into 2nd. Halliburton's going to drop back to 4th. Francisco's going to drop back to 6th. So the number 6 of Andrew Procario will inherit the lead. Will he get gifted the win, or will the 2 machine of Matt Busa have something to say about it? Through the 5th corner, the left-hander, and now the short shoot here, as we're going to see the 6 of Procario defend. We got a spinner in the background. That is Edwin Valrino, but now the fight for the race lead is on. The 2 machine of Busa gets a fantastic run off this final corner. He will have the slipstream. It's a long run to the start-finish line. Busa's going to have to go the long way around, though. Procario side by side, and who's it going to be at the line? Going to be Procario by 0.05 of a second. Matt Busa from 15th on the grid will find himself up into P number 2, Alvin.
That is, you know, I wasn't expecting really this finish, and with all that was happening, that leading group kept fighting, and that allowed that secondary group to catch up, and Matt Busa almost got it. You know, I gotta give it to him. Starting from 15th in the grid and coming all the way here to P number 2. That really goes to show you, just because he races ovals doesn't mean he doesn't have it here on road courses.
Takes a lot of talent to get into that NASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series, and Peak Antifreeze Series drivers have represented themselves well on the roadside the last few days. We saw Zelensky. He took away a top 15 spot in the first round of the World's Fastest Gamer on what is essentially a VRS setup, and then today Matt Busa puts up that P2. So congratulations, well done to those 2. But Andrew Procario, well done to him as well. He's going to pick up the win here in round number 2. Kane Halliburton led a lot of laps. He's going to finish 3rd. Christoph Fuchs 4th, and Diego Francisco rounds out the top 5. Bruno Barbugli 6th, Edwin Valrino 7th, Justin Tipton 8th, Daniel Forgarini 9th, and Philip Stoneman will round out the top 10. Carl Tronque will be 11th, Francois Bollier 12th, Christian Capanga 13th, Greg Seitz 14th, Mike McCormick 15th, Tuan Tron 16th, Victor Allard 17th, Aricoba Lopez 18th, and rounding out the 19-car field, John Marias Mork. Join us next week, same time, same place. This series will be live from the Virginia International Raceway, this time running the full layout. And if this was a fun race with Slipstream, oh boy, VIR is going to be intense. See you next week. Bye-bye.